Don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians, and a lot of people are laughing at
A lot of people are going to be mad, and I can't even say that I'm a fan of Trump, but I'm a fan of the truth. And what I can tell you as someone who is 95% Native, that when it comes to getting your tribal registry and your certificate of Indian blood, you have to prove records. But the challenge for people that actually do have red skin or that are really red bone is that to be recognized as indigenous, they don't care about DNA or blood tests. They're going by the Dawes records, and a lot of Dawes rolls were destroyed, especially rolls of true Native indigenous. Thank God my family just happens to be a part of the original Chickasaw tribe. So we have a museum. My great aunt, Mary Tayetta Thompson, there's a movie about her. Frank Thompson, which was her father or grandfather, is the same as, he's my great grandfather.
So, are there like other college-educated black Americans that don't believe they descend from West Africa? Because it's one of those things where I've seen nothing but dumbasses say it. Like, the niggas that you be seeing standing outside the corner store, them is the niggas that be like, oh, no, we ain't no damn Africa. We ain't come from no damn Africa. Like, every educated black American person acknowledges the fact that black Americans have their own, like, ethnic background, like all these other people and shit. But at the same time, they acknowledge that they descended from West African slaves like many years ago and shit. But what's with this other, group of people that don't be on that shit? Like, the fuck? I wouldn't have a problem with niggas just being on this shit in general, but the niggas that believe this shit start shit talking Africans and shit, and I'll be like, damn, nigga, what the fuck? So, I don't know. What's up with that?
You look cool.
Yo, so we back in here for another edition of F-ya-Motha, and this is another brainwashed Negro that believes black people all originated out of Africa. This is actually problematic because most people need to read books. And as it pertains to him saying that all the people that go to college, they're indoctrinated, sir. That's the short answer. I forgot what the fuck his name was, and I mentioned it in another video. I think it was We Are Not From Africa part 1, 2, and 3. You can watch it in one of those videos, but it was a white scientist that came up with pseudo information talking about that there were differences between the skulls of people in Asia and the Africanoid person, the Asianoid person, and the Caucasianoid person, right? They had different skull shapes and shit, signified what region. Like, technically there are only 3 races. Everything else is like a admixture blend of one of the 3, either Asian, African, or European. I don't go with that whole model. That shit's stupid. Reason being, because while there are dark-skinned people that resemble Africans, there are also dark-skinned people that are Guatemalan. What the fuck are we talking about? They have the same phenotypes and cranium shapes and all that shit, right? And he used that whole theory to prove that Africans were more inferior than Europeans. All black people don't come from Africa. Matter of fact, as it pertains to African people in America, there were only 3% out of the 30 million that were transported from Africa to here. Only 3% survived. Not a lot of people came from Africa. Matter of fact, most of the slaves that they transported from Africa ended up in the West Indies and the Hispaniola Islands. Technically, also Columbus never came to America, so then there's that. Most of the people that were here are indigenous, including black people, minus the Europeans. The European is, there are no native Europeans to Americas. All the people that are indigenous to America are brown. And you have Native Americans, the red Native Americans that have been infiltrated by white settlers throughout the years and have been lightened up. But technically, all the people, if you look at books from college, ironically, most of the people are dark skinned. They're depicted as curly haired, dark skinned people. Matter of fact, there's people in Mexico right now that do not speak Spanish, that are indigenous to the terrain, that are darker than me. By definition, that would be a black person. I think they're in the Yucatan part of Yucatan Peninsula. The Oaxacan people, They don't speak a lick of Spanish, and they're not brown, light brown, or fair skinned. They're dark skinned. So yeah, people need to crack open a book, especially you niggas from the Caribbean and you niggas from Africa. A lot of you niggas like to mock black Americans, talking about that we're pretendians. And first of all, actually, Indian is a misnomer. Nobody is a fucking Indian here. That's what the fuck Christopher Columbus was calling the people in the Caribbean islands, because they resembled the Burmese people in India. The Burmese people also were dark-skinned people, which is funny because them niggas don't consider themselves black. And a lot of Indian motherfuckers that are darker than me, once again. But I digress. The only thing I will say on that is, the new generation that's 10 and 20 years younger than me, it'll behoove you to pick up a fucking book and not rely on your college professor. Matter of fact, we got the internet. Everything that is written has been transcribed and transferred into like online. You could listen to audiobooks. You don't even have to read books no more. I know people are mentally and intellectually lazy now. They don't like to do cursive. They hate manual books, so they gotta audio read shit with their ears. It's stupid. So then they get on TikTok trying to be TikTok researchers, TikTok scholars. To me, an older person, they just TikTok assholes. And assholes are like opinions. Everybody got one. And nobody really gives a fuck, because what you're saying sounds stupid. The only people that's on TikTok trying to drop knowledge are dumb niggas that sound smart to dumb niggas. I swear to God, TikTok researchers and TikTok scholars, smart dumb niggas. They sound smart to dumb niggas. It behoove you to actually go to a person with real knowledge. And I'm not saying that you can't get real knowledge, intellect, and scholarship from the internet, but it's highly unlikely. And you niggas is stupid. Let's go put that out there. Talking about why the people that's always kicking that shit is at the gas station. So who the fuck is at the gas station and talking about we not really Africans? Crackheads? I don't think so. You sound stupid. If he's talking about the IUCPK people, the Hebrew Israelite niggas, they're on to something. With that, I will give them that. Now, when they start talking about the tribe of Judah and using a fictitious book like the Bible saying it's historical, it's actually not. It can't be confirmed. What I will say is there are actual documented historical records of books documented by white historians and scholars, black historians and scholars, and everybody in between the spectrum. Hell, one that just to start you off is a book by Ivan von Sertima, We Came Before Columbus. Read that book. That's a good starting point. Claude Anderson with Powernomics. He speaks about the indigenous native black person, black American. It's a lot of people. Francis Cress Wilson. Yeah, black people in America nowadays are an amalgamation of indigenous people, Africans, and South Americans. It's an amalgamation. So, yeah, then there's that. Yeah, that's all I got. If you still, after seeing my video, continue to believe malarkey, and you believe that you're African American, look, I don't not what people think they are. If you think that you're African American, all black people came from Africa, I mean, you're entitled to that. There are a lot of people that believe they can't contract HIV. An idiot is an idiot. And this ain't a convent. I ain't trying to change your mind. You either look the shit up and get the knowledge, or you just a fucking idiot. I don't know what you want. That's all I got. In the words of Fred Joe Star,
do the knowledge, nigga.
Yeah, do the knowledge. In any event, I'm out.